Hi, AP Lit scholars. We are going to pretend that this is your prose question that you have gotten for the 2020 AP Lit exam. Now, actually, it's from 2012, but that's okay. This is one of their released exams. And of course, we're disregarding all of the multiple choice, the open essay, and the poetry essay because they have told us that under COVID, we are just getting question 2, which is where we read a prose passage and analyze it. So here you go. Let's say we got this question, which was now no longer a third, but actually the entire test. Carefully read the following excerpt from the novel Under the Feet of Jesus by Helena Maria Viramontes. Then write a well-organized essay in which, and this is where we want to pay attention, you analyze the development of Estrella's character, right? So that is one of the things we're looking for, is what do we see going on with Estrella's character? And in your analysis, you may wish to consider literary elements such as selection of detail, figurative language, and tone. P.S. This is where all of those AP Lit terms suddenly are going to come in useful. All right, if you have them ready to recall from your mind, you'll be able to apply them. Now remember, you only have 45 minutes to write this essay. You're going to want to spend 15 minutes really digging into the passage, and then 30 minutes writing your essay. Okay, maybe more like 11 minutes digging into the passage, and then 30 minutes, a little bit of time for editing, revising, etc. So we're going to actually read this together, and I'm going to talk you through some of the things that I am noticing as I'm reading that I would want to bring to the analysis. Okay, it begins. So what is this? When Estrella first came upon Perfectos, already I'm like, oh, his name's Perfecto? That seems significant. When Estrella first came upon Perfecto's red tool chest like a suitcase near the door, she became very angry. Okay, so his tool chest, he's doing some kind of work with tools, but then he's also entering and leaving because it's like a suitcase. So that also seems like a detail worth noting. So what is this about? She had opened the tool chest, and all that jumbled steel inside the box, the iron bars and things with handles, the funny-shaped objects, seemed as confusing and foreign as the alphabet she could not decipher. All right, notice that when she looks at all these tools, she doesn't recognize them. She says that they're funny-shaped, they're confusing, and they're foreign. Right? So all of that language lets us know that she does not have the terminology to identify these tools. In fact, she compares this through a simile to being like the alphabet she could not decipher. At this point, a detail we can recognize about Estrella is that she probably doesn't know the English language as well because it's an alphabet she can't decipher, decode. The tool chest stood guard by the door, and she slammed the lid closed on the secret. Okay, so it's something that she hasn't yet discovered, right? It's a secret to her. It's unknown to her. For days, she was silent with rage. Think about how you can become angry when there's something that you can't grasp or understand. This is how I feel when I approach a calculus problem, for example. I feel overcome with rage because I just can't get it. The mother believed her a victim of the evil eye. So we see a little bit of superstition, maybe a little bit of religious belief coming in here. Estrella hated when things were kept from her. The teachers in the school did the same, never giving her the information she wanted, right? So this reveals to us that she's a student who wants to learn, but she doesn't feel like she has the access to learning that she needs. All right, I'm going to pause there. Let's just go back up and make sure we're looking for detail, figurative language, and tone. So at the very start, we've pointed out some important details. We looked at some of that figurative language, like with the simile of the tools being like the unknowable alphabet, and we've seen the anger in her tone, right? Now I'm going to shift as we move into the second paragraph. Estrella would ask over and over, so what is this? Notice that we began with, so what is this, right? So that's a question she's going to have. So what is this? And point to the diagonal lines written in chalk on the blackboard with a dirty fingernail. Okay, this is a detail that lets us know that she's probably having to do some manual labor. The script A's had the curlicue of a pry bar, a hammerhead split like a V. The small eyes resembled nails. Notice that she's comparing the alphabet to tools, a pry bar, a hammerhead, right? Like a hammer, the head of a hammer, and nails. Okay, so again, she's noticing that language is like a tool and she wants to uncover, but how do you use the tool? So tell me. But some of the teachers were more concerned about the dirt under her fingernails, right? So they're making judgments against her. We can see their tone is somewhat condescending rather than caring as much about her education. They care that she looks dirty. They inspected her head for lice, parting her long hair with ice cream sticks. They scrubbed her fingers with a toothbrush until they were so sore she couldn't hold a pencil properly. They said good luck to her when the pisca, and I'm saying that so Anglo, I know, but we'll come down here and it says that means the harvest. The harvest was over, reserving the desk in the back of the classroom for the next batch of migrant children, right? So they don't really take an interest in her learning, the teachers don't, because they see her as transitory. She comes, she leaves, she's not there for long, she's not our problem, right? She's just one of the many batches of migrant children coming through. So here, that tone is rather dismissive. Estrella often wondered what happened to all the things they boxed away in tool chest and kept to themselves. So get access to that knowledge that they're not sharing with her. She remembered how one teacher, Mrs. Horn, and I always like to pay attention to name symbolism, so I don't know why she's called Mrs. Horn yet, but let's find out, who had the face of, what a great description, of a crumpled Kleenex and a nose like a hook. She did not imagine this. Ask how come her mama never gave her a bath. The way that Mrs. Horn is described, she sounds devilish, a horn. She's got wrinkles and she's got a nose like a hook, sounds kind of like a witch, right? So all of this figurative language here is to make us see that Miss Horn is not the most likable of teachers. Until then, it had never occurred to Estrella that she was dirty, that the wet towel wiped on her resistant face each morning, the vigorous brushing and tight braids her mother neatly weaved were not enough for Mrs. Horn. So if you notice, we see that her mother is actually taking care of her, but this doesn't fit the standard of what her teacher expects, right? So we have this detail that her mother spends time braiding her hair for her, helping her to wipe her face, but she's made to feel lesser. For the first time, Estrella realized words could become as excruciating as rusted nails piercing the heels of her bare feet. Dang. Powerful language there to show the impact that words can have, how painful they can be. So we've got more figurative language here. And it almost makes me think of a crucifixion with this idea of nails piercing bare feet. So how is she being crucified by her teachers, sacrificed? The curves and tails of the tools made no sense, and the shapes were as foreign and meaningless to her as chalky lines on the blackboard. But Perfecto Flores was a man who came with his tool chest and stayed, a man who had no record of his own birth except for the year 1917, which appeared to him in a dream. I guess this year's important in the United States because of World War I, but I don't know if that's a detail that we need right now. He had a history that was unspoken, memories that only surfaced in nightmares. Okay, so there seems to be some sort of trauma there with memories that surface as nightmares. No one remembered knowing him before his arrival, but everyone used his name to describe a job well done. So perfecto, like his name suggests, is associated with doing a good job, right? And also, even though he has this toolbox that's like a suitcase, we're told that he came and he stayed. So he is a presence within Estrella's life. Oh, and Estrella means star. So that's something to think about, her shining light. Anyway, that was a side note. She opened up the tool chest. I'm sorry, not she. He opened up the tool chest, as if bartering for her voice, lifted a chisel and hammer. Aquí, pagarle aquí. I'm sorry, y'all, I do not speak Spanish. Here, hit it here. So he's showing her how to hit the nail with the hammer. To take the hinge pins out of the hinge joints when you want to remove a door. So he's teaching her how to actually do this. Start with the lowest hinge, tap the pin here from the top, tap upwards. When there's too many layers of paint on the hinges, tap straight in with the screwdriver at the base, here, where the pins widen. If that doesn't work because your manitas, and that's little hands, aren't strong yet, fasten the vice pliers, these, then twist the pliers with your hammer. Okay, so here, this is all dialogue that we get from Perfecto. And in this dialogue, he is teaching Estrella how to take care of a door, to take a door off of its hinges. And he's being very specific and explaining what each of the tools does. So he's giving each of the tools a purpose. Perfecto Flores taught her the names that went with the tools. A claw hammer, he said with authority, miming its function. Screwdrivers, see, holding up various heads and pointing to them. Crescent wrenches, looped pliers like scissors for cutting chicken or barbed wire. Old wood saw, new hacksaw, a sledgehammer, pry bar, chisel, axe, names that gave meaning to the tools. Tools to build, bury, tear down, rearrange, and repair. A box of reasons his hands took pride in. Okay, look at all these strong active verbs here. All the things that he can do with the tools that he has, right? And because he knows the names of the tools and knows how to use them, he's able to take pride in them. So the tone here is one of pride and accomplishment and knowing exactly what to do with the tools. She lifted the pry bar in her hand, felt the coolness of iron and power of function, weighed the significance it awarded her, and soon she came to understand how essential it was to know these things. That was when she began to read, right? These are really powerful. Once you understand what a tool is used for, once you understand the power of function, then you can start to use that tool and see how essential it is, right? And once she understands the essential nature of knowing how to use the tools, that is what empowers her to then want to learn how to read. And we assume here to read in English, because she sees that tools can be used to give you power, to give you purpose, and to help you understand the world around you. All right. So I tried to walk you through and do a speak aloud of what I was seeing regarding the detail, figurative language, and tone. And I've done this all in 12 minutes. So this would be kind of the thinking that's happening in your head and the annotations that you're doing of the text. And then you would be ready to outline what your essay would look like. So that's what I actually want you to do, is to create, now that we've walked through this document together, create an outline, not the essay itself, but an outline of what your well-organized essay would look like, in which you're analyzing the development of Estrella, I'm Englishifying it, Estrella's character, from where she starts in anger to where she ends in understanding. Shine on.